Okay, so in this problem, I am going to find the inverse of f of x. So our first step, I'm going to write this as y equals x squared plus 3 all over 3x squared. And I'm going to interchange my x and my y's. So I'm going to have x equals y squared plus 3 all over 3y squared. And now I'm going to solve for y. I'll start by multiplying both sides by the denominator of the right, and then we'll gather my y terms to one side and my y squared terms. So that will be 3xy squared minus y squared is equal to 3. And now I will factor out my y squared. So I will have y squared on 3x minus 1. That is equal to 3. And so y squared is equal to 3 divided by 3x minus 1. And finally, y, therefore, is the square root of 3 over 3x minus 1. So this is f inverse. This is my inverse function, 3 over 3x minus 1, square root of that. I'm now going to find the composite of f and f inverse. So I'm going to find f of f inverse of x, and I'm going to find f inverse of f. And I should, in both cases, get x as my result. So let's start with f of f inverse. Of course, if I do, that then proves that I have found correctly the inverse function. So f of f inverse is, I remind myself, f of x is x squared plus 3 over 3x squared. So that will become, I'll just put in here, blank squared plus 3 over 3 times blank x squared, right? And in there, I'm going to put in my function. I'm going to replace x in f of x with the function f inverse. So that is the square root of 3 over 3x minus 1. And the same down here, 3 over 3x minus 1. Working this out then, my square root and my square term will cancel here, and I'll be left with 3 over 3x minus 1 plus 3 divided by 3. Oh, look at this, I forgot my square root sign here. That's important. And so again, my square root sign here will cancel with my square for inverse operations, and so I'll be left with 3 times 3 over 3x minus 1. Working this out, the simplest thing I think to do is to multiply above and below by the denominator, which is 3x minus 1 and 3x minus 1. Again, this is multiplication by 1. 3x minus 1 divided by 3x minus 1 is 1. And so 1 is the identity of multiplication, so I'm okay. So 3x minus 1 times 3 over 3x minus 1, well, that's just going to leave me with 3. And then 3x minus 1 times 3 is, I have a plus 3 times 3x minus 1. And down here, I have 3x minus 1 times all of this. Well, I'll have 3 times 3, which is 9, over 3x minus 1, times 3x minus 1. Well, that will just leave me with 9. So downstairs, I will just have 9. And then working it out, in my numerator, I have 3 plus, distributing, 3 times 3x is 9x. And then 3 times minus 1 is minus 3. My 3's will cancel, and I'll be left with 9x divided by 9, which is equal to x. And so f of f inverse, the composite of f and f inverse, or f composed with f inverse, these mathematical terms, is equal to x. Now I want to find f inverse of x. So f inverse of f. And so that will be, if I go back to, I look at f inverse, it's the square root of, here it is, just highlight it, this here is f inverse. So it's the square root of 3 over 3x minus 1. So that will be square root of 3 over 3x minus 1, but I'm going to replace x. I'm going to replace my x with f of x, with my function f of x. And so again, that function is x squared plus 3 over 3x squared. X squared plus 3 over 3x squared. Okay, again, we should get, when we compose these two functions, we should get simply x. So I have the square roots. Square roots of 3 all over. I notice that I have my 3 here will cancel with this 3 here, above and below. And so I have x squared plus 3 over x squared over x squared minus 1. Again, I have options here. One is to multiply above and below inside the square root sign here by x squared. And I think that's what I'll do. And that's the simplest way to go about this. And so I will have the square root of 3 times x squared is 3x squared. And then x squared plus 3 over x squared times x squared is going to be x squared plus 3. And finally, minus 1 times x squared is going to be minus x squared. And so working this out, I get 3x squared all over x squared minus x squared will cancel all over 3. And so I get the square root of x squared, simply x squared, square root of x squared, and that is going to be x. We're assuming that these are one-to-one functions, and so I'm only taking the positive value. I'm not taking plus or minus. I'm taking the absolute value of x, if you like, and that is just x. And so there you go. That is f inverse of f, and that is f of f inverse, and that is how we solve that problem right there.